Hello and welcome back to That's How We Roll. It's 2022 and it's just me, Becca, from the original podcast playing Lupo. I played alongside Ed, the GM, Toby, starting off as the captain, and then later Rufio, Lauren, who played Hood, and a whole host of other guest stars that we had join us in the game. So it's been a little while, hasn't it? Um, we disappeared off of air for about a year and a half, 2 years almost. And I just want to kind of catch up people who did listen to the original podcast, just so that you guys can understand why we went off air, what happened, and to the new people, get a little bit of a history of the original series before launching in to the original Session Zero. I say original, it's actually the second Session Zero, but I'll explain all that as we go. And then you can follow some recaps and the like that Ed and I did back in, I think it must have been 2017, a little while ago. Season 8 was the last place that we left off, and we didn't actually finish releasing all of the episodes, so to start with, I'd like to apologise that we never got that far. I think Ed and I were struggling predominantly with some serious burnout from the podcast. He was obviously handling all of the GMing side of things, and I was handling social media, editing, making sure things go out on time, the Podbean subscription, everything. And I think between the two of us, taking on new jobs, moving out, all of the things that young adults do, it just became more frustrating, especially when we weren't able to get the gang together as much as we wanted either. So in the end, we just kind of stopped. I know on the Facebook we did say that we'd like to end on season 9 and that's where we'd finish, but I think it was foolish of us to think that we were going to get that far, and we never got to record it anyway, which is a shame. Maybe in the future we might be able to get together and do that, but for now, it's just season 8. So, what now? Re-releasing everything. So I'm certainly in a more financial steady situation. Sacked Podbean because we weren't actually big fans of it. And we're now back on podcast places, so you should be able to find us again quite easily. Spotify, Apple, Google, wherever you get them. And we're also uploading to YouTube as well, so if you happen to prefer listening on YouTube, then we're there and available as well. You should just be able to find us again. That's How We Roll podcast, the usual stuff. One will always link to other things, so you should be able to find it fairly easily. And our website actually is a proper website now, rather than just the Podbean page, because that was one thing that really annoyed us, that we bought the domain name and Podbean just slaps its own little extra in there. It's like, hang on a minute, what's the point in having our domain if you're still going to put .podcast in it? So we didn't like that. So it's That's How We Roll podcast.com, I believe. Let's just do... They're doing it live, folks. Yes, that's how we roll podcast.com. And that's just got links to everywhere where you can listen to us. It's also got a link to the Twitter. The Facebook is still up, but unfortunately, I think I was a moron. Took myself off as an admin, which means that only Ed is an admin. And trying to get hold of Ed is like trying to pull teeth out of a stone. I know that I got that euphemism wrong, but you get the idea. And it's totally for a fair enough reason. Ed is a very busy guy. He works in the film industry. He's on set. He is doing some awesome stuff that I wish I could tell you about, but that's for him to share if he wishes to. Me, I'm a lot easier. I'm just your bog standard office worker, so I've got a lot more free time and a lot more resources to use. And yeah, over the pandemic, we really did kind of feel a bit of a hole. Like, I've certainly started listening to significant amount more podcasts because I've been working from home, so I tend to have a lot of different stuff on in the background, and we thought maybe it's time to actually get this back out there, so that's what we're doing. We're going to be starting with Session 0, which is going to follow immediately on from my little update here in 2022, and then after that we will actually be skipping ahead to Season 4. Now, the reason for that, unfortunately, Season 3 has gone AWOL. Ed and I made sure that we backed up everything from Podbean and made sure that we had everything saved, secure, all good, before closing it all down. But for some reason, that season, we just can't find it. So season 3 was the season where Lupo and the captain went to Haven, the pirate mystical shrouded lands. And honestly, I think it's one of the best performances Toby and I give in the podcast, but unfortunately just can't be found. I can't find it. Ed is going to be looking in his hard drives, but again, he's not really got that much time. So if he does find it, we will release it, but we'll put it in a place that makes sense in terms of release order. The other thing is, and we touch on this in session 0, is that season 1 and 2 were some of the worst audio quality that we could produce. It was the first time we'd really tried anything like this, first time learning all of the ropes of how to produce an audio podcast, and it was bad. The actual plot and roleplay and everything was pretty damn good, but the quality is just ear-bleedingly bad, so we don't want to put you through that. Thankfully, the session 0 that Ed and I did is obviously a session 0, but it's also a recap of seasons 1, 2, and 3. So we do cover that season 3 as well, so you won't actually miss anything in terms of the plot, which is so lucky that we thought to do that. Who knew? And once that's been released, we will then start releasing everything after that, because we do have everything remaining, which also means we will finally get to finish season 8. That will be released in its full, and then you will have the most complete version of what is recorded, if that's how we roll, with the original cast anyway. And the reason I say original cast is because I'm getting the gang back together. I will be bringing back Lauren, Lawrence, and Kaz. So that's Hood, Merlin, and Celadon / Dollface. And they will be returning with a new team, currently unnamed, for a new series of That's How We Roll. We'll be in a different city, 5 years from the end of season 8. More details will come on that later, but this will be released after the entirety of the original series is out. So that way it gives me plenty of time to get the cast ready, get the game ready, because this time I'm the GM. I'm going to be doing it. And I'm really keen to tell the story, and I really hope that you guys enjoy it as much as you enjoyed the original series. It's also hopefully going to be nice and standalone as well, so even if you don't listen to the original series, you can still enjoy the new one on its own, but it will have callbacks to the original because it's the same universe, returning characters, all that kind of thing, but predominantly it will be moving forward into its own story, and this new team as well. And hey, there'll be some more familiar faces along the way as well, which should be quite nice, and we'll see how it goes. Hopefully it will be fun. We've got some really good ideas coming up and a slight different way of running things as well to try and avoid that burnout, because we don't want that to happen again. For now though, re-release. I haven't quite figured out the release schedule order yet. I think it might be once every 2 weeks that an episode will come out, and that just enables me to make sure that everything that goes on YouTube specifically is ready, because I'm operating off of an ancient laptop that doesn't particularly like rendering, even if it's just a still image and the audio track, so it takes a long time to get those sorted out. I did consider maybe just releasing a series, maybe just in one chunk. So YouTube, you could just go on YouTube and it's literally just the whole season in one audio file, but then that's going to take even longer to export. So I don't know. I'm going to play with that. But for sure, the audio version, iTunes, well, no, it's not iTunes really these days, is it? It's Apple Music. I don't know. Whatever the kids call it. I don't use Apple, that's why I don't have a clue. And yeah, any place where you should be able to get podcasts, you should be able to find us again. So we're really looking forward to it, and we hope that you enjoy it too. For now, though, I will hand back to a much younger Becca and a much younger Ed as we tell you a little bit more about the world of That's How We Roll, and give you a nice recap of the first 3 seasons. And then hopefully about 2 weeks after that, you should get the first episode of season 4. Enjoy!
I'm just going to shuffle this paper.
What's on the paper, Ed?
Notes.
What kind of notes?
Roleplay notes.
That's nice. Do you want to see what I have in this bag?
I would love to.
They're Dice. Dice for role-playing with. That could be taken very out of context.
Yes. Yes, it could.
I'm gonna put my hand into the bag. And I've got a nice, I've got two D20s and a D6 here. We will never become ASMR artists. Nope.
No, we will
Well,
not.
we tried. That's how we're starting this episode. So welcome, guys. This is
Wait. I've got some more ASMR.
Oh, okay. That's made my eyes sting. No, I'm not even kidding. Look at my eyes, Ed. I've started to weep. Okay.
That was tearing paper.
If that worked for you, let us know. We'll make more. Ed.
It's just really satisfying to tear things.
And you know it will come up fantastic on the recording. Anyway, welcome to this very special episode of That's How We Roll. I'm joined by Ed.
Hello.
And I'm Becca. And
Yes,
I
you
play Lupo. And you're the GM.
I am indeed.
It's just the two of us because we've been wanting to do...
Two of us.
We could make it if we tried, just the two of us. We probably could. This podcast is basically 50-50 us. We don't need the others.
No. If we replaced them with just us doing hand puppets, if we made hand puppets of the other people.
Just mimic their voices.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah, we could probably do that.
I'd be up for trying that.
We could do that one day. Maybe when we do like a video live stream
It would
episode.
be so much more easy to organise.
That is one of our biggest shortfalls. But yeah, anyway, this episode is a recap episode because our audio quality when we first started this podcast is abominable.
Yes.
We would never ever expect anyone to start from the beginning.
And that's essentially the situation that we want to avoid, is putting people off with the first few episodes where, although we think, you know, the content's good, characters are fun, events are fun.
Yeah, everything that happened was great in
Yeah.
terms of content, but the problem
Just
was
a bit of a slog.
we couldn't afford to have high quality at the time because we were all poor uni students.
Yay.
And that was a problem.
Yes.
And it meant that we were on the cheapest bandwidth and that we had to have files under a certain size.
Yeah.
And I don't have audio wizardry. Do you?
Not massive amounts, no.
No. I have a terrible feeling our neighbours next door are like doing things against walls. So if you hear that in the background, I'm sorry. I'm not stopping. We're carrying on.
No, of course. So yeah, if you're an older listener who's looking for a little bit of a catch up, welcome back. If you're a new listener who's using this to sort of skip over,
This is the new episode 000.
yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
And if you're looking to recommend us to a friend, A, massively appreciate that. B, we think this would be a great place for them to start because they don't have to be turned away by
Terrible audio.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
because I find it quite difficult to listen to.
Yeah, it is hard to listen to. Like I can listen quite comfortably back to like Arc 2 and obviously Arc 3 because we got the new recording set up. But Arc 1, oof.
Yeah.
Ooh.
At the time.
Ooh. But then we all graduated and we got real jobs and it means that we can have the biggest file sizes that we want.
Yes.
And it makes a huge difference.
It really, really does.
Mm-hmm. So that's why Arc 3 sounds so different.
Yeah.
Because I think it was not the last episode I released. I think it was issue 18 because 20 hasn't actually come out yet in terms of recording
this.
Yep. And I think it was issue 18 I'd just published. And then I just did a thing and I went back to 000 and 001 and just listened to the first 30 seconds of each. And I just went, we've come so far. And it was quite a tear-jerking moment for me.
Yeah. So, without further ado, let's do a recap.
Yeah. So where are we, Ed? Where's the podcast base? I know we're in America. We're in the Atlantic Northwest.
Pacific Northwest.
Pacific. Why do I do that?
I don't know.
I do it every time as well. Like, without a fail, I will get the Pacific and the Atlantic mixed up, even though I full well know in my head exactly where
They're
one or the other
basically
is.
the same, let's be honest.
One's on the left and one's on the right.
Yes. That's Yeah. Yeah, we're up sort of Seattle way, that sort of area.
Kind of slap bang between Seattle and Portland. Yes, that's
Something
what
like
it's
that.
called.
Somewhere around there. I think I said Washington State
Yeah,
first time I
think
in the
so.
first episode, somewhere around there. But
on the coast.
Yeah. The universe itself is called the JusticeVerse, and it is named after the event which happened 14 years ago, roughly, from the events of the podcast, and that's called Justice Day. And Justice Day was the big old event which gave loads of people on the planet superpowers. I guess.
Which 2 years later, from episode 000, we still don't know the ending of the original campaign.
Correct. There was an original campaign which told the events running up to... We didn't record this as a podcast, but it was just a fun thing when we first started playing the system, and it told the events running up to Justice Day. It's a...
Superheroes on reality TV.
Yeah, reality TV show.
They were the very first superheroes.
Yeah. And... shit hit the fan. Fun times were had by all, bad times were had by most, and
Powers.
now powers are pretty
Powers
and abundant,
alien technology,
and superhuman technology, and gods, and all sorts.
It opened up Justice Earth, to a whole new shitstorm.
Essentially, yes. And that is how we have superheroes running amok. But yeah, I think that nicely brings us into the heroes themselves, the heroes of the story. I mean,
Are an interesting bunch.
yeah, yes. We have Hood, who is
Look at the list, Ed.
Captain's first. Captain is
Captain
first
goes
on the
first.
list.
We're going in alphabetical order.
We are going in alphabetical order. H comes before C in the new Justice alphabet, baby.
So the captain,
Captain, he is a pirate.
and that's literally it.
Yeah, essentially. He is, well, not even that.
Yeah,
he
he's
wants
not,
to be a pirate.
He quite likes the concept of being a pirate. He dresses like he's basically Pirate Steve
Yes.
from Dodgeball.
Yes. He dresses like a pirate.
Just with a better outfit.
He
I would
talks
say.
like a pirate.
Well, no, he doesn't. He doesn't even talk like a
No,
pirate.
he doesn't even talk like a pirate.
Just talks like Toby.
And he wants nothing more than to have a ship and a crew
Yes.
and follow in his dad's footsteps. And his dad is a pirate.
Yeah.
His dad's a cool pirate.
His dad's a proper pirate.
Yes. Who,
Leave that for Arc 3 explanation.
yeah, Captain just has
Yeah,
lost
we'll just
him.
say that.
Essentially, he's looking for his dad and he's looking for a ship and a crew, and that's what his deal is. And that takes him to one of his dad's old crewmates, and that's how he starts the story. Second up, we have Dollface.
Most interesting of the characters, I think.
Essentially, yeah, she's a little bit out there. She is a magically animated dressmaker's mannequin.
And she is perpetually stuck in the 50s.
Yes.
Her mannerisms are very 50s. Her attitude towards people and everything is very 50s. Christ, let's never let her meet a black person. That would be really uncomfortable.
Jesus, that would, yeah. But yeah,
She's white as white could be.
Yes, she's pasty.
Quite literally, there's some paste on her face.
Yeah, like paint.
Yeah.
She has made her way. The whole thing starts in a prison. Captain's there to find his dad's old crewmate. Dollface is there because she's working in like a reformation.
She's doing sewing classes.
Yeah, trying to.
It's the part of the rehabilitation program, not reformation. Rehabilitation.
What's reformation?
Reformation is like the
Is it even a word?
reformation of governments and things.
Okay, rehabilitation.
Yep.
Yes, that's what she's doing. Also, I'm bad at words.
Yeah. Think about the word reformation. It's reforming.
You could not reform a person. I don't know what I'm talking about.
No, not really.
Next up, we have Hood. She's
12-year-old girl.
yes. So she was one of the first kids to be born solely inside the JusticeVerse. On Justice Day, the calendar's reset. So you have BC, AD, and then I can't remember what it was now. JE, I think, for Justice
I do have it written.
somewhere. But yes, she is one of the first, and her parents are not entirely sure.
I think it remains AD and then it goes to... Oh no, you've just got year 1 on here.
Oh no.
Just goes year 1, year 2, year 3. Oh well, carry on.
I'm gonna go with JE.
Yeah.
Justice Earth.
Justice Earth, yeah, makes sense.
Hood's parents are not entirely sure on how the world will react. I mean, there's loads of heroes going around. Not a lot of them are children, though. So they homeschool her. They, try and protect her, teach her, how to control her powers to the best of their abilities.
And what are her powers?
She has shadow powers. Mm-hmm. She can, create stuff out of shadows and teleport through shadows and generally do cool stuff with shadows.
Yeah, and she has managed to pull from the shadow realm, quite literally, a little friend called Diddles.
Diddles is her only friend.
Yeah, it's very true.
Because with the whole homeschooling thing, she hasn't met a lot of other children.
Because they didn't let her meet other children.
Essentially, yeah. So she has a little pet cat.
Shadow cat.
Little shadow cat who has wings and is hideously deformed.
Yep, it's gnarly as fuck.
They're just full on disgusting.
Yeah, you don't want to be friends with this thing, but Hood loves him.
Yes. And Lupo does not.
No.
Which brings us on to the fourth member of our team.
I want you to describe Lupo.
That's quite difficult, actually.
He's a difficult person.
Lupo, at her core, is a spy. Mm-hmm. But she has sort of been twisted and contorted by people that she's worked for and with into more of a... I don't want to say killing machine, because she's not really a killing machine.
No, basically her concept comes from... They're a very S.H.I.E.L.D.-like group, but way more intense. Not in a Nazi way like S.H.I.E.L.D. turned out to be, but in a... there is a reason why...
They've got an agenda.
Yeah,
they've got a full-on agenda.
Yeah, there's a reason why you don't hear much about superhero incidents, and it's because this group called Anvil don't let it happen.
No.
The moment they get a sniff of someone who might go rogue, they're on it.
You ask who watches The Watchmen, and in this universe, that's Anvil.
It's Anvil, yeah. And basically, Lupo was one of the Spec Op teams that dealt with problems. And that sometimes meant putting a bullet through their skull.
Yeah. Yep. No powers.
No powers. It's all through a nice high-tech suit.
Yes. So she's, a technology-based
Yep.
hero.
So we basically have 2 humans, one metahuman, and we are calling them metahumans in this universe.
Yes.
And then Dollface.
Who
is...
Misk.
Misk, yeah.
She's a Misk
She's
hero.
Misk.
But yeah, why does Lupo find her way to the prison at the start?
Lupo has basically been completely shafted by Anvil, and her team. She has uncovered something that reveals Anvil's agenda that she really didn't like.
Yeah.
And she had full intentions of going public with it and was working towards it in secret. And they were deployed to ex-Third World country where they were told that they were going to be taking down a metahuman drug dealing ring. Simple job, really, for them. Like, they could do it with their eyes closed. But when they got there, they found no drugs, no gang, no metahumans, and they all blew up.
Yes.
In short.
Essentially.
So they found out that she was going to expose them, and they went, no.
Good luck.
And they made her pay for it. She was the sole survivor. Yes, she's that kind of person. And she's kind of come crawling back from the dead with a very, very damaged suit. But it still kind of works. It's
and
still
a damaged heart.
And a damaged suit, damaged heart, damaged soul. And she is the most emo character.
Crawling
Good.
in my skin.
This orange will not peel. And yeah, I really do like her as a character, but like whenever I have to be her, it's just flat.
Yeah.
Flat. There is nothing expressive about her. She's not the charismatic spy. She is the I will kill you spy. Which is fine. It's no problem. But obviously it doesn't mean it makes it very easy for me to just be boring and flat. But when I laugh, it spoils it because Lupo doesn't laugh.
She's not about that.
No. So I kind of fail myself on that one, but hey ho.
No, it's
fun.
It's all part of the fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
But essentially, she is running on the fact that everyone thinks that she's dead.
Yep.
And one of her ex colleagues.
Yeah, so not in the team that got murdered, obviously, but like an adjoining team that they would have done joint ops with, that sort of thing. She found out that he is currently on death row for undisclosed reasons.
Yes.
And she's going there to find out for if Anvil has confirmed her death as a
KIA.
full-on... Yeah. Was she killed in action? Because from Anvil's side, Lupo and her team were killed and made heroes.
Yes.
Because they didn't want anyone sniffing around finding out what she was really doing.
And so she's going to, tie up
find
loose
me
ends.
a wishbone.
Yes. Which is how everybody gets to the prison, apart from Hood. They
Apart
find
from
Hood
Hood.
later.
Hood, his player Lauren decided she was going to go watch the Lego movie. And so didn't turn up for the first recording session.
Yes. But
Simple as that.
yes.
It kind of worked, though.
Yeah. So I guess now we get into the story. Now we've got the heroes. How long have we been going for?
We've been going for too long, but hey, that's what we're here for.
Yes.
You don't come to this podcast for quick and concise information. You come here for the long rants and rambles.
You get rambling. You get me not knowing what words is and doing like a mixture of words until I get the right words. A lot of ums.
A lot of ours.
A lot of R's. And
You're still here.
yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah. Or if this is your first time, get used to that because it's a whole time. It's
Yeah,
worse
this
when
is-
there's more of us.
This is one of those podcasts where if you're hoping for full-on serious, get your head down, characterization, dice rolls, ooh, intense. No, it's not happening here.
No, we're friends and we play a game together.
Yeah, we are friends. We play a game together. It's very casual. It's very fun. We keep it loose.
Yeah.
And, like, we kind of, like,
But that
fluff
works for
rules
us.
at times.
That works for us.
Yeah, it does work for us. If we were to do something serious, it wouldn't work with the group that we're with.
Definitely not.
No, it wouldn't be nearly as unique.
Yes.
Yeah. But anyway, the prison.
Yes. So,
The captain
the
has-
prison.
Yeah, the prison. The captain has come to go visit one of his dad's old mates, a hardy seaman
Yep.
known as Seaman Staines.
Yes.
And he is there.
I haven't done his voice in a long time.
You've got to dig that one out just for this.
Oh, God.
And so the captain is just trying to fish out some info. It's taken him a long time to even get this lead that Staines is around. So he rocks up,
Yeah.
has a chat with him,
Yep.
gets angry at him,
Yep.
tells him to
for
fuck off.
Very little
and,
reason.
Yep, and so Staines is like, you came here to talk to me. And that's very simple. Dollface is just down the hall with a group of inmates sewing little bags.
Rehabilitating them.
Yep, rehabilitating them.
Getting words right.
Yep. And Lupo is scoping out.
Yeah, she's infiltrating.
Yeah, I'm infiltrating.
And,
I'm doing my job.
yeah,
That's not my job. My
essentially.
personal revenge.
Yes. Your fun time.
Yep.
In amongst all of this, a prison riot kicks off. There's
Started by me.
there's a whole chaos going on in the central courtyard of this prison. And there's various different degrees of prison. This one's a prison for normal humans. There's no superpowered people in here.
Standard medium security.
Yeah, essentially. The fight gets quite out of hand.
Which is the perfect cover for Lupo to start stealthing her way through to the block that she knows Death Row is on.
Yeah. So, Captain bursts outside, Dollface bursts outside, and both of them immediately think, right, we need to try and help. Well, no, Dollface thinks, I need to try and
stop the riot.
Let's stabilize the situation. So she tries to talk the inmates out of fighting.
And promptly gets punched in the face.
Yeah, she does, like, properly full on.
Yep.
And so she just goes nuts and start, like, blasting them into the dirt with the magic.
Her newfound
Yeah.
magic.
So that's
Well,
how she discovers that she can beat people up.
Yep. Because she knew she had powers, but she just didn't know to what extent that they could be pushed.
She'd never had a reason to try and blast someone.
No, exactly. The captain's with semen stains. They're just kind of sticking together now. The captain's just like, fuck security, I'm here now.
Yeah.
And
some guy... Oh, by the way, Seaman Stains has a hook for a hand.
oh yeah,
Forgot to mention that.
that's kind of a very vital point.
Yeah.
It's
And
what the whole arc is centered around that
is
hook.
the hook. And believe it or not, in amongst the fighting, another thug manages to grab the hook and run off. So Stains makes chase, Captain makes chase.
And then they meet Lupo.
Yes. Who has one of the best first interactions with the Captain ever.
Yep. So it's in like a little alley in between two of the prison blocks. Stains and the captain come up one end. She's coming down from the opposite end, and there's just kind of a brief. There's not even a stalemate actually. She's in full flow. She dodges Stains, dips down, slides between the captain's legs, and because he's yelling all sorts of bullshit at her, she just twats him in the balls.
Just
shut him up.
Mid-slide.
It worked.
Yeah, it was fantastic and crippled him.
Yep.
Stains managed to make a headway, and Captain tried to, track him down.
Yeah. Which led them eventually. How did Dollface end up with them in the end?
I'm pretty sure she just sort of saw them running off and thought they were criminals trying to escape and followed. But Lupo managed to use the cover to make her way to the...
To the Green Mile,
Yes.
where she meets with Wishbone.
Yes. But more importantly, she
she
fights...
encountered a certain someone along the way.
She C4's the door open to that prison block, and there's a guard inside, and he challenges her to fisticuffs,
Yep. Because she took out his mate pretty swift.
like instantly.
Yeah, it was an instant takedown by Lupo. It was probably one of my best rolls. Not a crit, but one of my best moments.
Yes.
And then old Franklin was like,
He was
for the honour of my friend, I challenge you to a duel. Slaps her across the face with his glove.
and he
she
drops his baton.
She humours him.
Yeah, she like drops her guns, and then
Yep.
they have a fist fight.
And it turns out that Franklin is the Tanklin.
Yes, Tanklin is he's the Tanklin menace.
Yep.
And this fist fight goes on for basically
Too
a
long.
whole episode.
It was too long.
Whilst Dolphus and Captain are off doing other bullshit, you are just fighting, just wailing on each other.
Yep.
And you finally finish him off,
With a crit.
and it's the best moment. One of the highlights of the entire campaign so far for me, because you like roundhouse kick him.
Yep.
And you hit him in the neck, and you shatter every vertebrae in his spine.
That is the level of violence that we go for in this. It's
just-
full-on cartoon violence.
Yeah, it's the whole thing's a cartoon.
Yeah.
It's
If you're expecting realism, again, goodbye.
yes, or stay and learn that cartoon violence is more fun. So yeah, you managed to interrogate Wishbone.
Yeah. So find Wishbone, have a chat with him, and it's basically he's surprised that she's alive, which is a good sign. Means that he was
It's all
convinced
the-
she's dead.
Yeah, it's all the
It's all gravy.
affirmation that you needed,
Yep,
isn't it?
It's pretty much confirms, yes, Anvil and everybody believes that she is dead, she has died, and she's gone. But now Wishbone knows she's alive. Even though he is about to go on death row. He's probably about to get the electric chair. I don't even know if it's illegal in Washington State, but hey, this is a parallel universe, so it doesn't matter. And she decides that he's a loose end, he can talk, and she coup de grace him. He's now just brains against the back of the cell.
Yeah,
Just shot him point blank.
another great moment, because it's just
Unexpected.
yeah. He says something along the lines of, "So you getting me out of here?"
And she pulls the trigger.
And it's just dark.
Yeah.
It's great.
I bring the darkness to this podcast.
Yes, you do.
Ironically.
Yeah. Crawling in my skin.
Yep.
So you try and escape the way that you came in, basically.
Yep.
Which is not quite so coincidentally because they saw you coming from there, but that's the way that they're trying to escape everyone else.
Because they basically saw the fact that there was an explosion. They want to follow the person with the C4.
Yeah. So, you all find...
I think that's when I actually meet the captain. I don't think it was before. I think it was after.
Potentially.
Either way, it
Yes.
happened. Doesn't matter what order it happened in. And
Yeah.
I go back to my planned escape route, which is the way I got in, which was through the sewers. And so I go back to my normal spot. I find that the door was locked again. She managed to get out, and obviously some caretakers come along and gone, oh, I thought I locked that. So he locked it. And there's literally no time because like the police are starting to come in now.
Yeah.
And the guards are getting the situation under control. There's no time to sit around picking locks, especially not when you've got the captain and Seaman stands going, yeah, 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 and Dolph is going, yeah, 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 in your ear, and Lupo just goes, fuck it, I'm blowing it up.
Yeah.
And she blows the door open, and she jumps down into the sewers, and everybody follows.
Yes. 'Cause
Much to
why
her
not?
dismay.
Yes. And they make it down there and they find the guy who stole the hook from Staines.
And he is not
Ruined.
in a good way.
Yeah. And he tells about this guy who, stole it from him. He was hired to try and get the hook and pawn it off, but he was not expecting to be double-crossed to the extent that he was, which was painfully and brutally. And
Slashes.
yeah, like full-on gouges across his body. And Staines recognizes the wounds and realizes that there is an old enemy of pirates and pirate kind and just general people.
He just wasn't a nice guy.
No, he's a bit of a jerk. He's a cannibal, smuggler, all-round bad dude. And he's called the Crocodiver.
He was very creative on his names.
He's the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
We move on.
Yeah, the team sort of descend into the sewers, trying to... For a mix of reasons, some trying to escape, some trying to find the hook, some just generally sticking together because...
We've got no other option at this point.
Essentially, yeah.
So we end up a little bit deeper into the sewers, and we come to a generator room, I believe, or something along that line.
Yes.
And we decide to go have a little investigate.
See if you can find like a access hatch or something.
Yeah, exactly. Find some tools. They're only just workman's tools. It wasn't anything too exciting. And from the depths of the darkness, a voice. Oh God, a voice.
The shrillest voice. Hood has entered the game.
Hello! That's my Hood impression.
Hello! That's mine. It's not shrill enough. It hurts to do.
I can't do it. My voice is too deep. Lauren's voice is quite deep. I don't know how she does it.
It's a gift and a curse simultaneously. But yeah, she bursts in. She's tracking down a cannibalistic serial killer,
As it turns
like
out.
all 12-year-old girls do.
Yep. And Lupo actually knows who she is.
Yeah, she keeps tabs on heroes around the place. And,
It was her job for quite a long time, and she was aware of, especially of the fact that a child had appeared on scene, and she wanted to take particular care in watching that one because, children are so easily persuaded and so very, very squishy.
Yes.
So didn't want anything to happen to her. So I guess it was kind of a relief for Lupo to see her.
Yeah, doesn't want a glass cannon to fall
No.
into the wrong place.
Definitely not.
So she... Yeah, sort of immediately takes Hood under her wing and sort of goes, well, you should come with us, sort of thing.
Well, I wouldn't put it that willingly, but yeah.
And you sort of move the story more on to trying to find out who's killing dudes down here. I mean, it's...
We know who it
Yeah,
is.
you
We
know
just
who
need
it
to
is.
find him.
Just finding him and I mean, vis-a-vis find the hook sort of thing. So... Yeah, you realise pretty quickly.
Yep, but another problem that quickly rises is that some policemen show up, and they mistake us for, well, they
Baddies.
for baddies in general. The police have been aware that there have been killings down here lately, and
Yep.
they also know, which is how Hood got onto the case. But they also notice the fact that Staines is in an orange jumpsuit.
Awfully like a prisoner of...
Who's just escaped from a
Yes.
prison riot.
Yes.
That would have been radioed in.
Yes. So...
Gunfire!
Yeah, they start a shooting. Cap just kills them.
Yeah, he
just
just
full on
flat
kills
out
them.
kills them. And but what they don't, and after being scolded horrendously by the entire team,
Yeah.
for no, we don't do killing here.
Yeah, that's not our bag.
Nope. They turn around and notice that Staines was shot in the
Yes.
fight.
So he's lying on the ground, bleeding out. And yeah, he essentially says to find the hook.
Because it is the key to everything.
Correct.
And as it turns out, I kind of debate whether it really was the key to everything, but we'll come on to that later. And so the captain kind of mourns for about 10 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're off again.
And then off to the next thing.
Yep.
Yeah, you make your way through the sewers. You start getting taunted by the crocodile, actually. He realizes that you're coming and he's like, yeah, come at me, bros.
I remember that vaguely.
And you decide to split up,
Yep.
which doesn't end fantastically.
No, it starts... That was the birth of Team Bad Wolf,
Yeah.
where it was Hood and Lupo going off in one direction and coming to a dead end.
Mm-hmm.
And then the captain and Dollface were successful in finding
For...
what was very clearly a boss room.
Can we just note that Captain and Dollface succeeding is a very rare thing.
Yeah.
Potentially that's the only time it's happened.
I think that's very true.
And it
What's their
was
team name, Ed?
50-50. Team Fuck Up, I believe.
Team Fuck Up or Team Useless if you wanted to go safe for work.
Yeah.
Then we confront the crocodiver.
Yeah. As you go in, there's various like information and scribblings, psychopath scribblings around the room and stuff, which no one really pays any attention to.
Nope.
They just start punching on the crocodiver, and he's tough. He's got like this full on. He's got like a
Exoskeleton.
diver suit with like
Yeah.
an exoskeleton over the top. Lots of pistons and gears and stuff.
Lots of big slashy claws.
Yes, and like a robotic tail, and this mask which has like crocodile's mouth going over the top of it.
Snappy,
And
snap, snap.
snap. And he kind of batters a lot of you in,
Yeah.
but then you
Hood
all,
saves the day.
yeah, you all decide to work as a team to take him out, and it's sick.
Well, all. Hood
Most.
and Lupo decide
Yes.
to work as a team.
They throw him into a sort of grate in the middle of the room with some water, and then
They push him down into it because it was a broken one, wasn't it?
and then
Yep.
they like throw a taser in behind
Yep.
him or something like that.
And he gets electrified to death? Question mark?
What? Yeah, and then a policeman comes in and he's like, "Hi,
I'm your biggest fans.
I'm your biggest fan." No, he introduces himself as Lieutenant. I can never remember what status I gave him.
Emmett Michaels.
Emmett Michaels is his name, yeah.
Yep.
And he is trying to put together a task force of superheroes who can sort of work alongside the police. So on more of a professional level with restrictions and guidelines and hoops to jump through, but basically doing police work which normal policemen can't do. And it's been kind of a passion project of his for a little while, and he's been following a bunch of different dudes, but 3 of them were in the room at that time, and he's seen them all work together and basically gotten that
Who is the 4th one?
Cap.
I thought so.
Yes.
He just kind of came with the package, unfortunately. You can't really say to a group of people, I'm really interested in your work, and kind of go,
Yes.
to the other person.
And
And that's where Arc 1 ended.
Yes. With him
Inviting them to come work for him.
and giving the hook that
he had the hook.
To
And then went, psych, you can't have it till you work for me.
yeah, basically. And then he dropped the mic. Because he's cool. He's the coolest. Emmett's the coolest. And he's not my self-insert.
Nope.
No, the coolest. So yeah, that brings us on to so that's 6 issues in, and that brings us on to the first end of arc review,
Yep.
which
We did the end of arc. In every end of arc review, we basically just chat shit about the arc, what
And
we
each
liked,
other.
what we didn't like, and then we do end of arc awards. I don't remember the results, but I
Nope.
can tell you that Hood won most valuable player.
yeah,
slash
most valuable player is like
character.
the
that's the gold star.
yes, and Hood won that one just for
Bringing everyone together, really.
essentially, yeah, she was the glue.
And then that swiftly takes us into arc 2, which immediately follows on from arc 1.
Yes,
And this is where the audio
like they
quality...
literally go straight outside and have ice cream,
Yeah, pretty much.
milkshakes.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens. But this is when our audio quality starts to improve. So you can actually start listening from arc 2.
Yeah,
It's not
couple
as-
episodes into arc 2, I think.
Yeah. Give it 1 or 2 and then you can get back into it, no problem. But yeah, so they go to a diner that we had a far too long debate
A good
over.
5-minute talk, because again,
10
I can't
minutes
do
at
words
least.
well, and
Ed was under the impression that a traditional American style diner
yep,
was
a converted cable car.
yes.
So not just made to look a bit like one, maybe.
Yes.
So
We had a long debate on that one.
and it was just so confusing.
And unnecessary, but everyone was on board, so we kind of couldn't ignore it.
Yeah, and we got there in the end.
Got there in the end, and everybody ordered milkshakes.
Yes.
Except Lupo, because she's a downer. She walks out.
Yes, and Emmett follows her outside, and he's sort of been again. He's had his eyes on a lot of people for a little while, and he doesn't know everything about Lupo's backstory, but he knows
He
enough.
found her file.
Yes,
He found the publicly accessible file
Yes.
as a police officer could find.
and he uses her real name,
Yep.
which
Basically made her go from having a bit of colour, having a bit of confidence, to pale as a sheet and a what?
yeah, essentially. And you don't know how much Emma actually knows about your past, and
No,
and
that's literally all he says, and she just goes, we'll talk later.
yeah, essentially, and they just haven't had a chance to talk yet. Really,
We had a very brief conversation later, but it was very brief because the captain crashed it.
yeah, essentially.
We'll get there.
Can we say that they had the chat in the weeks that he was unconscious,
Yes,
and we could
can.
we could just role play it.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah.
Cool. And that takes us on to his next mission. He basically calls into his chief and goes, "Hi, chief. I've found some guys who are interested."
They
And-
just took down the crocodile
yeah,
for us.
And the chief's like, "Oh, what? Well, send them to do this thing, and if they succeed with that, then we'll give them some like sweet gear and stuff." And Emma's like, "But they just did a cool. Can we have some gear, please?"
No,
and he's like,
says
"Nope."
the chief. No.
Nope. And Emma's like, "Oh, Mac, oh, come on. Like, they just did, in like, not even
just-
a few hours,
They
they
just
did
took
something.
down a serial killer that we've been tracking for weeks.
Weeks.
Months.
Like, a long time. He's killed, like,
Nope.
10 people.
Nuh-uh.
And they just stopped him in a night.
Nuh-uh. We got a problem to deal with first.
Okay, fine. So he sends them off to basically infiltrate a drug ring, a drug smuggling ring.
Yep. A
druggling
druggling ring.
ring.
Yep. It's good with words.
Yes, a druggling ring. I guess we should try and get, if there are new listeners listening to this, we should probably try and get them into some of the inside jokes.
Yep, that's very true.
Druggling is one.
Rabble's not a word.
Rabble is not a word.
Yes, it is.
It is. I have since looked in a dictionary, even though I promised you that I was not going to look in the dictionary. I can confirm rabble is a word. I stand by what I said.
Rabble is a word.
It's a stupid word. It has no reason to be a word.
It's a perfectly good word and is usable in everyday life. I challenge you, listeners. Use Rabble every day.
How would you possibly use it?
You'll find the opportunity. If you are good enough and committed
to the word rabble, which
you can
is a
find it.
pointless word.
I will take up the challenge, even though it's kind of useless now that school's broken up. Tomorrow I will slip Rabble into the conversation.
Disgusting.
I'll do it.
Disgusting.
I'll do it. I'm a librarian. They expect me to come up with weird words and phrases.
Do you have a word of the day calendar? You should get one.
No, I should get one. September. That'll be my plan.
Yeah, good shout. So the team sort of set off, try and find some leads as to uncover the drugs, but they're not just regular drugs.
Nope.
They find this out quite early on. They call them meta drugs, and they essentially give you powers.
Yep.
You guys don't work this out straight away, though.
No.
You come across...
We just know that something's shady because there are these patches that people are wearing.
Yeah.
And whenever we find them, they're
like
just...
big old plasters.
Yeah, like the kind of nicotine patches.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Nicorette, whatever. And we find lots of people that have obviously been using these and they're just asleep. Like, they are gone. You cannot wake them up. But they're not dead, they're just asleep.
Yeah, like...
Out cold.
Yes.
Which leads us on to a very entertaining event that took place in an alleyway.
Yeah. So these guys are just chilling at the top of the roof, and they look down and they see 3 thugs looking over a couple of unconscious dudes and weighing up the pros and cons of
Stabbing them.
And taking all their money.
Even though they're unconscious.
Yes. And Hood teleports through the shadows down and drops one of the bugs on that Lupo gives her. One of the
So I basically
devices.
listen into the conversation to find out they want to stab these people, and I go, probably shouldn't let that happen.
Let's
Let's go.
And this initiates the most efficient combat
Yep.
which the team have ever partaken in, where they knock out 3 dudes in 6 seconds.
Yeah. That
And
is how
it's-
combat rounds go.
Fantastic.
We didn't knock out the third one, though. We kept him awake so that we could interrogate him.
Yes.
Guess who rolled a crit on her intimidation? It was me!
But no, everyone just sort of like nails their part.
That was just luck personified.
Yeah.
Personified?
You
Well, I suppose it could be in the dice.
you like jump off the building, land on a dude, knock him out, start punching some dudes, knock him out.
Dollface blasts the
Dollface,
dude.
yeah, blasts a bunch of dudes, knocks them out, holds them still so other
Yep.
people can knock them out. Captain,
Maybe did something.
yeah, like I think he slid down a pipe,
Yeah.
and
Everything was handled by the time he got there.
yeah, and Dollface, like with her telekinetic powers, grabs the last thug and like lifts him up the wall, and like pins him to the wall.
And that's when I got my fantastic intimidation check.
Yeah,
And basically just asked him, who are they working for, where are the drugs coming from, and standard questions.
where
And
are the
he
other drugs going?
complied.
Yeah, told her everything. There's a
Madison.
homeless shelter.
They told him, he told her about Madison.
Yes, and Madison is top of this
dog.
ring. He top dog. He's the guy who doesn't even really get his hands dirty. That sort of top dog. Like, you were just lucky that you found a guy who wasn't a nuttin. He wasn't just a
Just a runner.
yeah.
This guy knew stuff.
He was smart.
Was he a lieutenant, or was he just a guy who was clued in?
He was actually,
oh,
yeah.
nice. Very good.
Um,
That was lucky.
Yeah, very much so. And he informed them that a bunch of the product was being stored at a homeless shelter not too far away. And this homeless shelter was a front for drug smuggling.
Yes.
And the team decided it would be a great idea to try and infiltrate.
Yep. So Lupo pulls together a plan. She basically gets the team to split up into Team Bad Wolf and Team Fuck Up.
Yes.
Because there's not a chance in hell that Lupo wants to be teamed with the captain or Dollface. You know it's bad when she chooses the 12-year-old over the rest of them.
Yes.
And she tells Dollface and the captain to go and find some clothes to make themselves look like not thugs, to look like homeless people.
Yeah.
So that they can try and shuffle their way in
Yeah,
and
essentially.
get some help. Meanwhile, Lupo and Hood will go and look for clothes to make Lupo look like a thug. And she can see if she can maybe muscle her way in.
Yeah.
So, one half of the team is successful. Guess
Yes.
which one?
Is it Team Fuck Up?
No!
No, it's not.
No!
In fact, Team Fuck Up basically
royally fucked up.
Stalk
They
a guy
earned their name.
into an alleyway and then say, "Give me all your clothes," and he freaks out and runs away.
They managed to catch up with them though, didn't they?
Yeah.
No.
They find like a clothing bank, basically. They raid a clothes bank.
I had to call them back because they tried bribing them initially and it was working.
Yeah.
And then they said no, and so Captain pulled his sword on them. That's not a euphemism.
No, he literally pulled a sword out, so they ran away.
Yeah.
Um.
And that's how Team Fuck Up earned their name.
Yes. By
So-
fucking up.
Yep. So Lupo's managed to get dressed. They've just gone to a clothing bank and just gone, yep, let's just... She threw Hood... No, she didn't throw Hood in. Hood teleported into like one of those clothes things, had a little shuffle around, trying to find some clothes for her. And Lupo's gotten changed. They arrive. Hood sighs, continues to rummage around for a bit to find some clothes. And Team Useless decide to go scope out the warehouse, see if they can get in first. Easy, no problem.
Yeah.
So they go and do that. No luck. They're full.
They bump up.
Yeah. They're full. They can't take any more. There's another shelter down the road. Fair enough. They come back. And Lupo decides, I've got an idea. And she punches the captain.
Yes.
And starts a fight, basically.
Yeah.
And this is literally just pretty much outside the warehouse as well. So it brings over the other thugs and they're like, whoa, what's going on? And Lupo...
She waves like a security tag, which she pickpocketed from one of the guys, doesn't she? To make it... Or she just name drops Madison or something
no.
that.
She picked up the card that was on one of the unconscious bodies.
Yeah.
That had Mattison's call
Logo,
sign on it, yeah. And she fluffs her way through it and basically says, I'm one of Mattison's guys. Who the fuck is this useless idiot? And I think at that point he kind of shrugged out of his clothes and just became the captain again. So she was literally fighting with a pirate. And she didn't actually tell the captain what was going on, but thankfully Toby had some sense and realised what was going on.
He clocked it and he played along. And this was kind of the birth of Team Spirate.
Well, are we still going with that?
No, I have no idea what we're going with. Swords and subterfuge. The
Team SS.
Yeah. And because no team that's been called SS has ever been bad.
No, I know.
So, yeah, essentially that's how they get in. The thugs drag the captain into a room at the back, lock him up. And Lupo's gleefully plays along, gives him a couple kick-ins, takes his sword.
She took his sword away from him initially. And
he does not like that.
No, the captain was not a fan. And she restrains him, takes away his weapons, and just goes and chills with the guys for a bit.
Yeah. They're all inside this vault room.
Yep.
Which they're using to sort of count money.
Yep.
Deadbolted from the outside. Makeshift prison, makeshift money room, sort of.
Yep. And whilst the guys are distracted, kind of counting the money, Lupo just kind of slides out her gun, which has a silencer on it, and she shoots out the light bulb.
Yes.
The captain is just like creaming his pants at this point.
Yes.
Because he knows good stuff's going to happen.
The two little night vision eyes blink on in the
So she
darkness.
puts the mask back on, and we didn't even talk about the mask.
No.
Just so you know, Lupo has a wolf cowl kind of mask, which allows her to see in the dark, take pictures, and take video. That's
and see heat.
And it's heat vision as well.
Communications. And...
Yeah, it's got comms and, techie stuff, Batman. Yeah. And she initiates night vision, and she beats the crap out of the two thugs.
Yeah,
basically.
Absolutely batters them.
She destroys them.
And meanwhile, outside,
yep,
Hood and...
They're on top of the warehouse.
Yeah.
And Hood's like, okay, are we ready to go? And Dollface isn't actually paying attention. This is just Caroline not paying attention in general. Dollface's player. And Dollface is like, okay, we're going in. And she teleports them in just as Caroline is mid-flow on sentence of, drugs! They're all on drugs! She loudly announces to the warehouse full of thugs.
That the plaster nicotine patch things are a drug, and when it runs out, your withdrawal symptom is that you fall asleep. Mm-hmm. She finally clocks that, and she just yells, they're all on drugs, as they're bumped into the room. And all the thugs just turn and stare directly at them.
Yep.
And they're like, good.
Like, Hood had prepared the room as well. She'd made it darker.
Yeah.
She'd made it ready for them to go stealthy. And Dollface just fucks it up.
Yeah. So
that happened.
Yeah, and then they fight all the guys, and the
They
guys
punch
roll
for a bit.
poorly, and one of the guys shoots his mate, and then himself, I think.
And then Dollface and... Or I can't remember who does it, but one of them lets out Lupo and the captain. But before they do that, the captain, because he was so angry by being disarmed with his sword, decides to shove the paralysis blade up of the bum of one of the thugs.
Yes, he does.
It was completely unnecessary in every way.
And that sums up Toby.
Yes.
One of the thugs, actually, coincidentally, the one who Lupo previous put a tracker on, he decides to get out of dodge. So he slaps one of the plasters on his arm, and this is when you guys realize that
These are not just drugs.
They're not just drugs. When he lifts up into the air and flies out of the back door.
Yep.
And across the river behind.
Yep.
And
That happened.
yeah, the four of you are like,
What?
we should probably follow him.
So we do.
Yeah,
and
so they bust out into the back alley, hop the
Fly
fence.
Guy was born.
Fly Guy.
That's what we called him.
Yes. It's not his name.
What is his name?
Do you want to know?
Yeah.
What the newspapers are going to dub him?
Yeah.
As he causes all sorts of shenanigans.
Lupo would know anyway. She reads newspapers.
She does read newspapers.
Yes.
Goliath.
Oh.
They call him Goliath.
Oh.
But he doesn't just fly. He does other
No,
stuff.
he does other stuff, but that's really disappointing. He's called Goliath. Lupo would just be like at that when she reads it.
It's just media propaganda, in it.
Yeah.
Big villain, Goliath.
But come to the river and it's like, okay. Lupo's like, okay, Hood, teleport Dollface and I over there. And the captain's just like, but there's a boat here.
Dad, this is the first time I've ever got to drive a boat.
And Lupo's like, Hood, teleport us across the river. And
So
does
she's like,
that.
okay.
Yeah.
Just bumps them across instantly.
And I don't think she even gets the opportunity to try with the captain because he's like, no, no, no. I'm sailing.
I'm sailing across this river.
So he does. And they're waiting for a good 5 minutes for
Just
him to arrive.
Just as this little tugboat just across the river, and he's having a whale of a time. Air blowing through his hair.
Yep.
And
To be fair, though, Hood wouldn't have been able to carry him.
yeah, he's too heavy.
He's too heavy for her to teleport. So it's fine, I suppose.
But yeah, they all get to the other side and they find a series of warehouses.
So we attempt, and I really do focus on the word attempt, to stealth our way along one of the alleyways where we see some very heavily armed guards in the car park.
Yeah, so there's the three warehouses, big old car park in the middle, and each building is posted. There's at least 2 or 3 dudes, all with submachine guns, ballistic vests. They are security detail. They're kitted out.
So, as only Dollface can, she trips on a brick, stumbles into some bins, sets off a trap. The bowling ball starts rolling down the wall and drops down onto the bookshelf, which knocks over all of the books.
The little man does the flippy dive into the big old bathtub, and
and then the mockingbird thing dips into the water, and another thing, a marble rolls across into the train, and the train takes it down the tracks all the way to
yes, exactly. Ipso facto, a guy with a gun sees her and starts shooting at her.
And everybody else retreats like shit.
Yes. So, yeah, Dollface's reaction is to grab the brick and throw it at the dude.
As you do.
And I'm pretty sure it just knocks him out instantly.
I think it worked. Yeah, it actually worked.
So she's like, I'm just going to start picking stuff up and throwing it at stuff. So she picks up the dude's body and throws it at another dude. And that works really well. And that just sort of becomes her MO, is to just
that's
throw
how it was
stuff
handled.
at stuff.
Yeah. So that's how that happened. And then Fly Guy turns up again.
Yes, he bursts out and he's flying about and
He's doing
like,
some cocky bullshit.
you'll never get me because I'm flying so high, gotta fly high.
So Lupo shoots him.
Yeah. And he's
You
like,
can't catch me. Ow!
yeah. And he's like, oh man, and he flies back into the building.
Yeah, it was alright.
So everyone's like, okay, we got to think about this. How are we gonna infiltrate this building?
So Lupo offers up the captain as bait.
Yeah.
So Lupo and Hood are going to go in through the roof, and Dollface is going to act as like backup for the captain to follow in, but Captain is going to go through the front door.
The big old double doors
Yep.
that Fly Guy literally just Fly Guyed into.
Yep. And Lupo was perfectly happy with this plan.
Yeah.
Like 100%.
Everyone was 100% happy with this plan.
Everyone was 100% happy with this plan, but Lupo was like 120% happy because
she's an intelligent person and understands how things work. Yeah. So they bump up to the roof. They don't think to look in through the skylight.
Yeah, that was my fault as a player.
So they, just head down the
I like to think
fire
that
escape
Lupo
stairs.
was well aware of what was going to happen.
Yeah, oh yeah, she's definitely aware. She's
I may not have known, but she knew.
yes. And so they head down the fire escape,
Yeah.
or the roof
Stealthing
access,
their way through.
and they
Watch as...
Captain he rolls a smoke grenade in through the door,
Yes, he does.
and thinks, yeah, that's a great shout. And then he runs into the building, not realizing that the smoke grenade is only going to create a small cloud of smoke right in front of the door to a huge warehouse, like a massive warehouse.
Which you can tell is huge from the outside.
Yeah, and everyone is now looking at the smoke outside the door, and there's literally no way that you can hide as you come out of that smoke.
So he charges in through the smoke into what is quite literally a hail of bullets.
Yeah, there is the firing squad basically waiting for him, and he just gets decimated, like just destroyed, and he's like bleeding out, screaming, and you guys burst in through the top and start taking people out.
Lupo and Hood start drawing fire.
Yeah.
And then Dollface enters the fray as well.
Yeah. And at this point, it sort of
Captain's
breaks up
fucked.
the fighting. But he is properly gone. He's
Lupo
like,
has literally been spending Arc
screaming
1 and Arc
bleeding.
2 just quietly waiting for him to die.
yeah, essentially.
She won't pull the trigger herself, but she'll set it up.
I mean, it would have
so
been
that
so
someone
much
else does
easier
it.
if he just died.
Yeah. Like, no, who's going to miss him? Really? His only friend is already dead.
Yeah, I don't know. And yeah, there's a whole table of drugs over on one side, and one of the thugs runs over, snorts up a bunch of powder, and starts breathing fire.
Yeah, as
It's
you do.
chaos.
Yep. And then Fly Guy is still like,
Fly Guy
"You
bursts
hurt
out
me."
of behind a bunch of crates, starts smashing. Like he's like bulked out.
Yeah,
he's
because
super strong now.
we took him out on the flying, so he was down on the ground now. He stopped flying because we hurt him.
He didn't stop flying, but
Okay.
he stopped flying vertically, if that makes sense. So he was sort of,
He could leap.
yeah, he could like propel himself crazy far. And he was like doing, like running tackles basically. But he was bulked out. He'd
fucked
taken
up the
some more
captain.
drugs, which like strengthened him up and kind of drove him a little bit insane. He lost a lot of his cognitive skills
A little bit.
and
Burned out some brain cells
yeah,
right
essentially, and just went into a rage. And just started wailing on the captain. And the captain managed to drag himself over to the drugs table and was like,
there. Lucky dip.
yep, pick or choose, win or lose. And just grabbed a syringe and rammed it into his arm.
Luckily for him.
It was a healing drug.
Yep.
Unluckily for him,
It was a super healing drug.
which,
We'll come on to later.
yeah, the fight became a little bit tedious at that point because you knocked out all the thugs and then it was just a slog to try and knock out Fly Guy.
But eventually we got there.
Yeah.
And then over the intercom, the speakers in the warehouse, Mattison's just mocking us. He's in a car outside, just like listening to the madness inside. And it's just like, amateurs.
Yeah, basically just like, I'm out. And then
bye.
you hear the car squeal away.
And that's the end of Arc 2.
That is the end of Arc 2. And who won MVP in the end of Arc review for Arc 2?
I did.
Yeah, you did.
And I was very humble about it at the time.
Yeah,
and I'm
you were.
still humble about it now. I'm the best.
Yes, you are. For that one arc.
Yep. I am the only one who knows how to play the game.
Correct. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the only one who has physically looked at a rulebook, let alone
I've
considered reading it,
pretty much.
including
built-
myself.
Yeah.
I think I sleep with one under my pillow at this point.
It's kind of just expected, really. I was looking at a GM kit myself the other day. I was just like,
It's so nice.
one day.
So nice.
One day, my sweet prince. I'll come for you.
Requiescat in pace.
Yeah. I don't want to put it to sleep. Goodness me, no.
No, but it rests in peace until you try it.
True, very true, very true.
The transition into Arc 3 is another instant one.
Yep.
And then there's a time jump. It's sort of
Yeah.
weird. So instantly they burst out of the...
This is also when we have our brand new rig, which you are listening to right now.
So if you are...
If you want to start from here, from sexy audio quality, cut out now.
Yeah.
Stop. It's
stop
spoilers from here.
and go from issue 13.
Yep. So
We'll give you time to pull your
Fumble,
phone out of your pocket,
yep.
open up your phone, load up the
hit
podcast
pause,
app.
or just rip out your headphones
rip
and go,
them out.
no.
But I mean, yeah, if you wanted
Spoilers
to listen...
ahoy. Like, seriously now, because this is like,
Ahoy! I like it.
hey.
Pirates.
Yeah, pirates. Because that's what this arc's about.
Yes, Arc 3 is about pirates.
So the premise of Arc 3 actually came about the fact that organising everyone together is a fucking nightmare.
Correct.
So what we did is that we decided this arc was going to be all of the people who lived in one area.
Also
So,
correct.
i.e. Ed, myself, and Toby. So we could record around a table, because we'd been recording a lot through Skype at this point, because everybody's scattered around the UK. And not so much now, but at the time. So we decided that that's what we were going to do. It was going to be Lupo and the captain, and they were going to go on a merry adventure.
You've earned yourself a third correct.
Yes.
I mean...
Which meant that you got to play Dollface and Hood for the
very
first
briefly, yeah,
episode.
and it was a lot of fun. So if you haven't listened, I'd recommend going and listening
Yeah.
to episode 13, just because that happens.
We also had to re-record episode 13 3 times.
Yes.
Because the first one corrupted.
Yep.
The second one, the latency was wrong and we
Yeah,
couldn't
it was.
recover it.
Disgustingly wrong.
And the third time thankfully worked, and we were very tired of the story
Oh,
at that
God,
point.
yeah.
But the problem for us is that unless we listen to the episode fresh, we can't remember what happened, what bits got cut from the final thing and what didn't. So if we say things that don't appear in the episode, sorry. That's all I can say. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
But yeah, so instantly the guys burst out of the warehouse and they start chasing Madison. They grab themselves a motorbike. Lupo jumps on the front, Captain jumps on the back, and they make chase.
They just go.
They just go.
Sorry, Dollface. Sorry, Hood. Well, Hood can keep up. She's fine. But Dollface, bye.
And long story short, car chase happens, cops get involved. They manage to
Lupo gets in front of Mattison's car.
And they manage to stop Mattison's car by Captain jumping on the bonnet.
And going face first into the windscreen.
And then passing out.
Yep. And there's a reason for that. He didn't just roll really badly. A thing happened.
You remember those drugs we were talking about?
Yeah, they were super Healy drugs.
Healy to the point where they keep regenerating cells even after you're perfectly fine. So he essentially gave himself like a super advanced form of cancer.
Yep.
And he basically from there went into
Body
hospital.
could not cope.
And it was only because
But he did stop Mattison.
He did stop Mattison. Mattison was arrested.
He stopped Mattison with his face.
With his face. There was a whole thing about how Mattison was uncovered and he was like a major funder in a certain political...
Yeah, because
like a mayoral candidate.
The captain went into a coma, and we glossed over the period of what happened during that coma.
It was like a 2-3 week coma. Can't
About
remember
that,
exactly
yeah,
how
it
much.
was quite a while.
And yeah, the
team,
rest of the team was still active.
The team were functioning very well without him.
Yes.
We uncovered Mattison. We completely exposed him. He was, like you say, he was a candidate to be the next mayor.
No, he was funding.
Oh, he
the
was
mayoral
funding
candidate.
the mayoral candidate. That's what it was. So
Yes.
that candidate was completely exposed, and they completely just toppled quite a sophisticated little plot there
Yeah.
without the captain.
Yes, they did.
So that was great.
Well, no, if you think about it, the captain's face kind of did all the work. So I'm pretty sure
think
he
that
is the
really-
one who did all that single-facedly.
We'll move on.
So yeah, he wakes up in the hospital, and it's only because Emmett knows a great deal of people, and he managed to pull some strings, pull in some favors, and a hero called Medusa with healing powers. She managed to draw the toxins out of his body and basically heal him. But it left him with a mark on his arm, like a thick black mark, which, you know,
a black spot.
the black spot.
You could say.
Yes. And, you know, you can see all the veins being gross inside his arm, and it's no good. But yeah, he wakes up and...
He's fine.
Yeah.
Mark
good
aside.
as new.
Yep.
And
Much to Lupo's dismay.
yes. They head back to... Oh, we haven't mentioned the gingerbread house yet.
It was kind of irrelevant at the point.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, in the 2 or 3 weeks he's been out, they've started using Dollface's
Business establishment.
yeah. When she gained consciousness, she found herself in a shop front for a haberdashery, and it's called the Gingerbread House, and she's sort of been living out of it for however long she's been.
The business
if
is
you can
long
call it alive.
closed. Yeah, the business is long since closed, but that's where she's been chilling.
Yeah, so like she calls them all her brothers and sisters, all the other dressmakers, dolls.
The other mannequins.
Yeah. Ugh. They, the policemen, I mean, that like Emmett and the rest of the team, they have basically made it into a base of operations. There's various like computers and tech. Everyone has a room. It's their headquarters, the Gingerbread House, and they head back there. Emmett shows Captain his new room, shows him the hook, and most importantly, shows him that he has managed to work out a way of opening the hook. There's various different secret compartments inside it, and he's worked out how to get into one of them. The contents of that compartment is a letter from the captain's dad, basically saying, I need you to kill Blackbeard, and if you're reading this, I'm probably dead.
Lupo's at this point is just, she's seen a lot of things, you know, working for a group like Anvil, who were government,
Yeah.
and dealing with a lot of metahumans and all of that nonsense. To hear the word Blackbeard to her was apparently crossing an invisible line.
Yeah. It's sort of like when, I mean, I'm sure there were like shitty small time villains who called themselves Blackbeard because it's like, oh, it's an icon, let's name myself after
pirate.
it. But when you hear that there is an actual Blackbeard, you're like, that just can't.
No, that's not real.
It's like
ridiculous.
it's like saying you got to kill Santa. Like,
Yeah,
it's that sort of.
it's ridiculous.
That's no good. So obviously she's in, and
I've got no choice but to
yeah, exactly.
I am the captain's babysitter.
Yes, and that evening, ninjas attack the shop.
Yep,
It's just
literally ninjas.
casually.
We take care of it.
Yes.
Emmett gets knocked out
Yes.
again.
So they take him back to his flat, lie him down, and basically say, "We're off."
Yep.
They head down to the docks. They're following a crystal which they found in the compartment as well, which Emmett identified as a concealment charm. And as they head down towards the dock, it starts to vibrate harder and harder, and they eventually uncover a ship, a pirate ship, which has just been chilling in the dock,
Yep.
completely invisible to the naked eye.
Yep. But the crystal breaks that spell.
Yeah. And they rock up on board, and they bump into this guy called Jonas. And Jonas is the first mate, and he was waiting for his good friend Staines to...
Because what the captain didn't realise was that Staines was due for release soon.
very soon.
But he broke him out anyway.
Yes.
And got him killed.
Yes. And Jonas is very upset to hear that. But they're like, oh, well, I guess we should, yeah, I guess you're the captain of this ship now. And we should head out into the...
Do fly and find Blackbeard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
essentially.
And Lupo's kind of like, fuck.
This is actually happening.
This is actually happening, and I'm coming along on this ride.
Yeah.
And forgot to call Emmett
Yes.
to let him know what was happening.
So, a few sea shanties later, they find themselves out on an island in the arse end of nowhere. And the way that pirates work is that they have this substance that's called crystal. And it's sort of like a magic thing, but they use it to fuel their ships, do like black powder, like all sorts of stuff.
It is their buy all end all.
Yeah,
kind of
essentially, it's their thing, and there's various crystal mines on different islands around, and the island that they stop at has one, and this is where stuff kind of goes south. Do you want to introduce Mabel? She's a good friend of yours.
Yeah, Mabel and Lupo got on very well. Mabel is the quartermaster of the Mistress.
Yes.
Which is the name of the ship.
The Ocean's Mistress.
Yep. And Lupo and her got on pretty well. Had a good chat. Really, really got on.
Yeah.
Good mates. Like, Lupo didn't really meet with the rest of the crew. She chatted to Jonas. He was a nice enough guy.
Jonas is cool.
But her and Mabel hit it off. Buddies.
They just sort of saw eye to eye on all that stuff.
Yeah, they did. And when everyone was on shore and having some fun, Lupo stayed behind on the ship, and Mabel was there as well. And as Lupo's coming up onto deck, she noticed that Mabel's acting a little bit off.
A little bit funny.
Things aren't exactly right. So she just goes over, has a nice coy little chat with her, and I crit my sleight of hand roll.
Yeah, you go to give her a hug, and you just pick all of her pockets.
Yep. I give her a hug and I basically just undress her and she walks off naked without noticing.
Essentially.
And clues are given to me.
Yeah.
A mirror.
Yep.
A photo of a man.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it, I think.
I believe that is it.
Yeah. And me being kind of switched on around signalling and mirrors and shady behaviour, I automatically jumped to the conclusion that, oh fuck, Mabel's been signalling another ship. So I pelt it down to the tavern.
Yes. Where everyone is rowdily dancing and drinking, and then the captain gets stabbed.
Yep, he got stabbed without noticing. He toughed his way out of that one.
Yeah, he did.
And
some guy,
some
bumped
guys,
into him, gave him a little jab in the back.
So the captain gets Jonas to send off some guys to take care of some other guys, and then that's that. And Lupo comes in and is like, I think something, my Lupo senses are tingling, things are going wrong. And
pay attention, the only person who's aware of anything is aware that something is happening.
yeah, basically. So they leg it back to the ship to find that the ship is gone. No, I'm wrong. I'm completely wrong. What happens after that?
The ship is just
the
basically
ship got
picked clean.
That was it.
All the crystals gone. So they can sail, but they have to use actual sails, and it's just a whole hassle. The whole thing. And then as they get to the ship, there's an explosion back in town.
So we have to leg it back into town.
They head back into town, and the explosion has essentially destroyed the crystal mine.
Yep.
Big old cave in, gonna take absolutely ages to clear it out.
Mm-hmm. And then the other pirates that Jonas had sent off earlier were like, we took care of it for you. Took care of what? The guys you were talking about. What did you do with them? We killed them.
We took care of them.
We took care of it. And that was just a Lupo glowering at Captain moment, and the captain insisting that was not what he wanted.
No, just wanted you to follow him.
Nope.
And then do nothing.
Yep. And then we noticed one of our crewmates is being a bit shady as well.
Yeah.
And Travis.
Yes.
And when confronted, he legs it.
Essentially,
Yeah, he runs back with the... it wasn't the tavern, but the inn. And Lupo and the captain make chase. And they find him in the room full of dead bodies.
Pretending to be dead.
Yep, so that was the group of pirates that were taken care of.
Yes.
Whoops!
And
so we drag him back to the ship. At this point, like, the guards are onto us because they think we're the ones who blew up the mine. Fair enough assumption, really.
Yeah.
And we're dragging Travis with us. Get back to the ship, set sail.
Well, you can't because you don't have any crystal. So you're like, we should probably head. We should see if there's a shop front anywhere which sells crystal. And they're like, yeah, there is. And you run inside, and the guy comes out who you recognise from the picture on Mabel's.
Yep, that was it.
In Mabel's photo.
Mm-hmm.
So
he's like, don't got any crystal. And Lupo's like, I think you're wrong. And she jumps over the counter and
Bats him in.
knocks him out by accident.
Yeah.
It was seriously one of those moments. It's just even as a player where, like, I'm thinking I'm doing a really cool thing. Like, she jumps over the counter, like, plunges her knife into his shoulder, twists it to try and, like, intimidate him. And it was a really good moment.
Yeah,
but
it's fantastic.
He failed his role and passed out.
Horribly. And just full on passed out.
And Lupo kind of stood up awkwardly and was like, I
Oops.
overestimated his constitution, apparently.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, guys. Do you want to just start ripping the place apart?
Yeah, and they found a little chest full of crystal, luckily, which
we
is
got
enough
going.
to at least get on the road.
Yep, and we took the guy with us because we thought he's unconscious and we got questions. He's coming too.
Yeah, yeah. So after sailing, while sailing after Mabel and the other ship, they interrogate Travis and this other guy, and basically discover that he was a middleman. They were supposed to take him with them. He was.
That's another crit roll on my intimidation.
Yeah. He was just gonna stack up all the crystal, give it to these guys, so that they had a massive hoard of it, and then he was gonna come with them. And they were heading. Well, Mabel said that she just wanted out. She just wanted out of being a pirate. She
wasn't interested anymore.
She just wanted to see the horizon.
Yeah.
And that's when Toby suggested. I don't know if the captain.
No, it wasn't in character, but Toby clocked it and went, "Horizon's a place."
Yeah.
Which, as it turns out, it is.
It is a place. Correct. And yeah, so yeah, they find that out. Same with Travis. He was supposed to be with them on the ship.
So they get moving.
Yeah.
And they catch up with Mabel.
Yes.
And we obliterate her ship.
Completely. They rock up alongside it, throw down the gangplanks, and run across. And Mabel's at the wheel
with a good explosion of cannon fire first.
Yes.
And we took out their mast.
Yes.
So that was good.
Mabel's up on the wheel.
Yep. Lupo swings across. The captain decides to run across
the plank and slips.
Fall off. He fell.
And he's like hanging from this plank by his fingertips.
Like pinky finger, kind of holding on by.
Oh dear.
He has a grappling hook.
He does. One of the alternate blades for his sword is that he can just full on swing across anything, basically.
Yep.
So that's good. What a guy. What a champ.
Mm-hmm. So Jonas basically does most of the work on Mabel.
Yeah.
He beats her down.
Smashes her up.
Not completely, though.
Because she's got this coat.
It's a very nice coat.
It's a very nice coat. And the coat is something which Captain recognises from his childhood when he was on a pirate ship. And it was his father's pirate ship. And it was the last day that he saw his father. And it was when they were attacked. And the coat signifies that Mabel is a pirate hunter.
Yep. So from there, they quickly realised that coat is impenetrable to swords, at least. Because whatever cuts that the captain was making, it just wasn't working.
Nope.
Like, nothing was working. So the captain and Lupo teamed up in a rare moment of genius.
Yes.
And Lupo
undressed her.
Yep. Literally, Lupo grabbed her, ripped open her coat, and the captain stabbed her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
that went through.
Yeah. And
right through.
All the way through, and then stopped at the coat.
Yep.
And
thankfully, because Lupo's standing right behind it.
Yeah.
She feels the point and she goes, ooh.
Ooh. And her last words are, the crows will fly on horizon and it will burn, or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was.
It's along those lines.
And they realise that she has an amulet around her neck, which is the shape of a crow. So you take it.
And I take her coat as well.
And Lupo has this fantastic plan. Mm-hmm. Sink the ship.
Yep.
Leave her adrift. Mm-hmm. And create some sort of a signal. Mm-hmm. Because they find out from the rest of the crew that there's a whole fleet of pirate hunters descending on Horizon. Mm-hmm. This is their big plan. This is their big finale. They found out where Horizon is.
Yep.
And they're attacking it.
So Lupo, being a spy, decides to be a spy.
Yes. because
And the captain agrees.
yeah, Horizon, at this point they find out Horizon is a place, it's a city, it's the pirate city, and it's where the Council of Blackbeard sits. Because Blackbeard's not one guy.
It's many guys.
It's a whole council of dudes.
Yep.
And dudettes.
Yep.
And it's sort of like a title that you earn.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those people...
We don't... Do we know that yet?
They know that, yeah.
Do we know that at that point?
Because Jonas says it pretty early on. He says, you when you first got on the ship, you're like, oh, we need to kill Blackbeard. And my dad says so, and he's like, but your dad is Blackbeard.
Oh yeah, I remember now. Yeah, your dad is Blackbeard. He didn't specify a Blackbeard.
Yeah,
that was a slip of Jonas's tongue.
It was indeed. And yeah, so you're like, okay, we got to get to Horizon pretty quick.
So I'm floating in the sea.
Yeah, back on the Mistress.
They're just going.
Yeah, they're just heading towards Horizon. They follow the maps and stuff on Mabel's ship to find out its location, start heading towards it. Leave you adrift.
Yep. And my signal for sending off like a bit of crystal as a flare, because I've been set adrift with 2 loyal shipmates who know how to use crystal, because I've fucking no idea. And they set off a flare and they really blow up the ship.
Yeah.
And eventually another pirate hunting vessel turns up. Lupo's wearing Mabel's coat and the amulet.
Yeah.
And she blags like she blags.
She spies her way on.
Yeah. So she's like, oh, Mabel died. She made me captain. This is how it is now. And everybody's gone except for us.
Yeah.
And he believed her.
And he was like, okay, cool, come in, have a cup of tea and
Lupo actually is like, sandwich. Oh, you're really hospitable people.
Yeah, you're really nice guys.
Yeah,
he's like,
you're really lovely people. This is kind of awkward, actually.
Yeah, so
like genuine, like not even like villainous conversations. Like, no, these are genuinely nice people.
Yeah, essentially. And he's like, yeah, have this bed. We're gonna be sailing through the night.
We'll get quarters for your other people as well. Yeah,
they've got some beds also.
Have some hot cocoa.
Yep,
would
exactly.
Would you like some whipped cream?
No rum here. Hot cocoa with whipped cream for you.
Lupo's just like, do I get mini marshmallows? Yes, you do.
He just like,
I love this place.
Like a grog barrel that he like hits the tap off and just mini marshmallows pour out.
Lupo's set for life. She never comes back.
No. And morning comes and the guys.
We make it.
Yeah. When you awake, you're awoken by one of the crewmates, and it's like, the rest of the guys are here. So you rock up onto deck, and there's a bunch of ships, and the Mistress is
around
by Horizon.
It's near. It's nearby.
And it's a stone's throw, and you find out that you are summoning the Kraken.
Yeah.
And the Kraken is Horizon's main defense. It answers to the Council of Blackbeard, and it's sort of been an overarching threat throughout the arc because Cap has the black spot, and the Kraken hunts things with the black spot. The
Kraken. Well, actually, the Mistress gets disguised.
Yes, it gets turned invisible.
Yep, just for safety precautions.
They load up a bunch of crystal into all the cannons and that.
Yep, in preparation for a nice good old dogfight. And then the Kraken shows up.
Yeah.
And then more ships show up.
Turns up for what? Is what it does.
Yep. And Lupo's just like, no.
We are not prepared for this.
We are not prepared for this. They seem to think they're prepared for this, but Lupo's just like, you are not ready for this jelly.
And it's just smashing ships, like full on smashing ships out of the water. Big old crab man, the Kraken with loads of tentacles and that.
Yeah.
And he's
proper Cthulhu nightmare.
Yeah. And he's literally just obliterating ships out of the water. And there's a big old fleet of pirate hunters, but they are just getting devastated. And they're firing crystal by the boatload. They've been raiding islands like the one earlier on in the arc.
Just for this.
Literally just for this, to get as much crystal as possible, just to hammer into the Kraken to take him out.
So Lupo decides, fuck this mess. I'm getting out of here.
Ski.
Yep. And the captain of that ship is like, no, get off my ship. And so she's like, fine then. And she kills him.
Yep.
And she takes the ship.
Yep.
She doesn't normally kill people, but it was a stressful situation.
Yeah.
You know, and she had a choice. She was either going to get thrown off the ship or she was going to take it over. So she took it over.
Correct. She does more pirating than
the actual captain does, yep. because she gets to the wheel and she kind of does have that fleeting moment of, this really isn't that hard. And then she sails off. Yeah. Yeah, so she's off.
And
it's a bigger ship than the captain's as well.
Yeah.
Like, considerably.
And
proper warship.
The captain's driving the mistress around and firing cannons at all the other ships. And it sees Lupo's ship heading off and chases it. And they both head over to Horizon. And they park up. And they park up.
Just parking a bit.
Palm steer it. And they meet the captain's dad.
Yeah.
And he's like, shit.
Yeah.
It's going down.
It's really going down. And Lupo tries to cry for her crew and go, give them a chance. You need every man you can get right now.
Because she's got a crew full of pirate hunters.
Yep.
And they're like, nah, mate.
And she's obviously grown to actually quite like these people in the 24 hours she's spent with them.
Yeah, they've been
they're
hospitable.
they're
been
decent
nice,
people. Yeah.
And they're like, no, we don't do that. They came here to kill us. We'll kill them. Basically.
So they kill them, and Lupo is not happy about
not
that.
at all. But yeah, Lupo and Cap head up. They
go to the council.
Yeah, they gain council
where the captain does the most monumentally stupid thing I think I've ever witnessed a character/player to ever do.
He walks into the council room, and there's a big old table with 8 chairs around it, and each one is personalized with engravings and the wood that it's made out of and everything. Each one is made specifically for that council member, and he just rocks up and sits down in one.
And Lupo immediately goes,
feet up on the table.
Yep.
Boots, like seawater draining out of his boots onto the lovely desk. Kicks back.
And Lupo's just like, I really don't think you should be sitting there.
And he's like, no, it's fine, my dad's on the council.
I don't think you should be sitting there.
It's fine.
So the council walks in.
His dad rocks over.
Grabs the captain by the ear.
And throws him out of the room.
And locks the door behind him.
So he's like a kid who, when you take like a sweet away from a kid, he's hammering on the door like,
let me I'm gonna hold my breath.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
And luckily Lupo's a competent human. I say that quite a lot.
Yeah.
She
She's the only one who thinks things through.
She talks the council into letting him back in.
She basically just calls him out for being the twat that he is, but please, for the love of God, let him in.
Yeah, and then nails her persuasion.
Yeah.
Cap comes back in and talking to the council, and he basically says, yeah, they're like, okay, we're going to use the island as a kill box. The bay is got a small mouth. As they come in, we'll just create a dead zone. Like they'll just die here.
Yeah.
And Cap's like, no, we need to go out and find them in the ocean.
Yeah.
And they're like,
his dad's just like, yeah, by the way, you're going to be a gunner upstairs.
Yeah, you're a moron.
Whereas you, Lupo, you have a place on my ship if you like.
Yeah, you can come on.
And Lupo was like, you know what? I'll take that offer.
Yeah. So, Captain Silver is his dad. He hops up he takes the mistress back because it was technically his ship.
Yep.
So he's like, yeah, mistress is mine. Lupo, you're on my crew. And Cap's just left there like, okay.
So he just goes and takes another
He
ship.
takes another ship. He just goes, my dad's Blackbeard. This is my ship now. And they're like, fine.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
And they rock out. And there's a big old ocean battle. Chaos. Lots of murder and death and killing. And
the captain slips out because he has a thought.
he has an actual idea.
Yeah, and it's an idea that kind of pulled through.
Yeah.
Woo!
What?
He realised earlier on in conversation that the Kraken that was fighting the pirate hunters was killed. And he told his dad about this, and his dad was like, it's fine, we've got others.
We got more.
Yeah. The captain
like,
was like, what?
Who?
So so he's like, to the crew that he's with, he's like, where are the Krakens kept?
Yeah.
So they go to where the
And
Krakens
Jonas
are
is
kept.
like, just around the corner, mate.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, let's go there then. So they go around to a cave at the back of the island.
Yep.
And Captain Silver sees him going, and he's like, I'm going to follow him.
And Lupo finds out, just through some A-class eavesdropping,
Yep.
that...
She sits on a bench, and Eagle visions her eavesdropping from afar.
Yep, exactly. She blends in with the crowd, and she goes in the walking priests along the deck and
Yep.
just head down. And she learns that Captain Silver is really unimpressed with...
How his son's turned out.
Yeah, so he doesn't mind if his crew accidentally run all of their swords through him
Yep.
multiple times.
In turn,
Yep. And Lupo was like,
hang about, that's my mate.
yeah.
Like, he's a
Like,
nonce, but he's all
He's
right.
a nonce, but he's my nonce.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Toby still hasn't heard that.
No.
He hasn't heard that speech yet.
No.
As of this recording,
As
he
of this
hasn't
recording,
heard that speech.
because we made him leave the room.
Yeah.
So he hasn't heard this confrontation between Lupo and Captain Silver, and
He didn't like leaving the room.
No, we are making him wait until it comes out to the public for him to hear that.
Yeah. Because Lupo says some awesome stuff.
Yeah.
And he's not allowed to listen to this either.
Nope.
And
Well, this will come out after.
yeah, it's true. But Toby might get to listen to it beforehand.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
if he
true.
asked for it. No, not that he would.
No.
But, you know,
Did you think he knows that we're doing this?
probably not.
Cool.
And
The
Lupo confronts him and she gets angry.
and he gets angry because he's like, "You don't stand up to me. You're nothing. This is my world. I'm king here."
Yeah, and she's just like, Sorry, it gets me all excited because even I was proud of this moment. She just turns around to him and says, "I don't care."
Yeah.
And she just shoots him in the head.
Yeah. Executes him in front of the crew.
And she assumes command of the ship.
Yeah.
Second ship she's taken.
Yes. In as many episodes.
Yep.
And
In meantime, the captain is inside the cave wooing
And
some
Jonas,
baby. Yep, they're wooing some baby krakens.
they work out that the black spot is the venom of the kraken, and it's actually the rite of passage which you need to go through to gain the title of Blackbeard. You have to be stung and survive because it's a horrible ordeal. And so, because gaining that sort of gives you the ability to control the kraken-ish, and because
You could point it in a direction and say kill.
yeah, and it'll sort of
And it'll go
yeah,
and kill.
Cool. You smell like mum.
Yeah.
And because Cap has it, he essentially goes in and just goes, Wagwan, there's a bunch of dudes outside, go and kill. And they're like, all
And
right.
they all go.
And
All
there's
of them.
loads of them.
Yeah.
And these guys are babies, but they're like 6 foot, 7 foot tall.
Yeah. There's a lot of them.
So he essentially, he has
swarm.
an army of Krakens.
Yep.
And they just,
Wreck shop.
they just
They
tear
take care of the
fleet
problem.
apart almost instantly.
Yeah. And then the captain jumps back on his ship. They start heading out and they see the mistress and they see everyone gathered around on the top deck. And that's when the captain learns that his father has suffered an injury
Yes.
in the fighting because he was absolutely killed when they were taking pirate hunters on, and Lupo definitely didn't kill him. Toby figured it out, but I don't think the captain did.
No. And they head back round. Everyone's celebrating, but they come back onto the ship and they're like, "Where is Captain Silver?" And you're like, "Oh,
He's dead.
He dead."
He's dead.
And they're like, "Ooh, shit, what happened?"
And then that's when she owns up and she went, "I killed him."
Yeah, because he was gonna kill
Yeah, because he was going to kill the captain
son.
and she wasn't going to let that happen.
no. And they were like, "Well, you know, ordinarily we would kill you dead, but because you have, you know, helped protect us, we will simply banish you forever."
And Lupo's like, "Okay."
Safe. I don't have to come back. Win.
Exactly.
And
She looks to the captain and is like, "Well, let's go."
and Cap's like, "Nah."
And she's like, "What?"
He's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna stay here with my people."
Bye.
Yeah, essentially. And
She doesn't mind.
because he, as he has the black spot,
He assumes his father's position.
as a member of Blackbeard's council.
Good grief.
Yep, they are in for a treat.
Yeah, you're banished. Well, and the captain's staying. I wash my hands of this.
This is,
Good luck,
This
folks.
is the best day ever.
Good luck, folks. I hope you enjoy this. Have fun. I'm going to go home.
Yes, tweet me how it's going, please. Yeah, and then you rock back.
Captain gives her a lift home.
Yep, and you have quite a heartfelt goodbye. Actually,
Yeah, it was quite nice.
they're like sitting up on the crow's nest watching Horizon disappear into.
It was very picturesque.
And and Lupo's like sitting there, and then the captain like clambers up the rigging.
You can just see it as well. Like she's just sitting there chilling quite nicely, and then there's just clambering, drunken
Like a
clamber, and
hand
it just,
comes up over the top.
then he just flops over next to her, and she's just like, "Hi."
And then they sit there and they just watch.
They watch the horizon. It was lovely,
And
really romantic.
yes, and they rock up into New Haven, which is the city. I don't know if we've said that yet. That's the name of the city, New Haven.
Yeah, that's the name of the city, by the way.
Rock up into the harbour and say goodbye.
Yeah, and then that's when Lupo, after she watches the ship go off, and is that wave.
Jonas gives you Mabel's coat.
Oh yeah,
as a
I get to
memento.
keep the coat, and then the captain gives her one of his rings, and she gives him like the bandana. 'Cause she obviously changed into pirate outfit. She gave him the bandana that she wore. It was like a sash more than anything. So
Yeah.
he's got that. She's got a ring, and she's also got Mabel's coat. And the reason she kind of was always eyeing it up because the fabric of it is plot device, and which you'll find out more about
Yeah.
in future arcs.
Yeah.
And she finally calls Emmett. Now, bear in mind, they've been away for about 4 months,
Yeah.
6 months,
She just rocks
a
up.
long time.
It's been a long time of sailing, yeah. And she just rocks up to his flat. And he is full on.
Freaking out.
Yeah, he's like.
Where have you been?
A borderline sort of.
Hysteric.
Yeah.
He's in hysterics. You're alive. Oh my god.
Yeah. Where's the captain?
And obviously, because of the way that Lupo's treated the captain this entire time, no one ever says it.
Yeah.
But they're pretty sure that Lupo killed him.
Yeah. They
Even
don't understand that there's been like 2 or 3 months of bonding between the two of them.
And Lupo tries her best to explain what happened, and it's more of along the lines of, you know Blackbeard, yeah? He's real. What? You know Krakens? Yeah, they're real. What? And that's basically how the conversation went.
Essentially.
You know pirates are a thing? Yeah. The captain stayed with them. What?
Yeah, essentially. And then you head on into his flat, and he's gone like almost borderline tin hat,
Yeah,
like
he's really paranoid.
like crazy, and he's got like full on psychopath.
Lupo sleeps
wall.
with a gun under her pillow, but like she's like looking like, whoa, what is going on with
he's
this
got
place?
like he's got maps, and he's got newspaper clippings, and he's got
Pins in the wall and
string
string.
and all sorts of stuff like covering his walls.
And Lupo's just
Proper conspiracy theory wall.
what?
And Emmett turns and he says that Dollface has been killing people.
Yep, and that's where it ended.
And that's where we ended Arc 3.
Yep.
So now you guys are up to date, apart from
End of arc review.
who won MVP?
I don't think you should have won it. I think you should have given it to me.
I
Just for shits and
I
giggles.
wish I had.
But it obviously went to the captain.
Yeah.
Because it
'cause
was his
he's-
third and
yeah.
final arc.
Essentially, he's gone now.
Toby decided into the recording of the first episode of Arc 3. Literally, we were starting the recording and he just went, "Well, stop a minute."
I don't even know if it was the first one.
Oh no, it
I
wasn't.
think
It was
I
the
think
first. It was the first.
maybe 3 or 4.
3 or 4. He just went, "Well, hang on a minute, guys, stop!" And he just drops the bomb like, "Captain's gonna leave.
And we were
not,
like-
he's not gonna stay."
We sort of like
We just stopped.
whoa.
Like we stopped the recording and went, "Tell us more."
It's like,
It was a
just
great
makes sense.
creative
Yeah,
moment,
it
especially
really
for
was.
Toby.
And it
It made sense.
was just it just
It-
clicked. It was like
It was just so sudden though, and we were all like, "Whoa!" But you'll be pleased to know that Toby already, if you listen to the end of arc review, Toby's already drafted up a new character. He's gonna be
Yes.
good fun. He's gonna be a biker.
motorcycle gang.
Yep.
So now you guys are all up to date with the 20 episodes that we've got out so far.
Yep. 20 episodes and
Plus-
3 end of arc reviews.
Plus end of arc reviews.
Mm-hmm.
You are fit and ready to jump into issue 21, which is
Arc
the start of
4.
arc 4.
Yes.
If you have any questions, if you think that we've missed anything out, please do send us an email to
That's how we roll podcast@gmail.com.
correct.
Or tweet us at That's How We Roll 1. Or come to our subreddit, That's How We Roll.
Those are the best ways to get in contact with us.
Yeah.
I mean,
and our Facebook as well.
yes. Because we love hearing from you guys. The feedback that we've been having so far is really strong.
It's
And
been really lovely, actually.
really
It's really
has.
quite humbling as well, because like we on the nature of like Podbean and podcasts, you don't really know how many people are listening. We kind of have to make a rough judgment on like the amount of plays that we get.
Yeah.
And then like we look at the likes that we have on Facebook and the amount of followers we have on Twitter, and we get a rough idea. But it's nice when people actually kind of pop up and say hello. And
Yeah.
It's like, this is lovely. This is really nice. Like there are people actually listening. Because we're just doing this for fun. We really are.
But it does make our day whenever any of you guys get in contact with us. And
If there's a new like, I instantly like nudge Ed like on the phone, even if it's just Ed,
We have a friend.
new friend.
So yeah, thank you very much for all
Thank you very much.
all of your support and everything. And
We really do appreciate it.
look forward to more shenanigans in the future.
Yeah. At one point, we are hoping at I don't know when this will happen, but we really do want to go bi-monthly.
Yes.
So we'd love to do two episodes fortnightly. Well, an episode fortnightly, so you get
Yes.
2 episodes a month. Because we understand that obviously a month is a long time between episodes, but as you've heard from the beginning of this episode, organising everyone together is the hardest part of this.
Essentially, yeah.
Especially
And
as this is on our own time.
one of the ways that we're going to be tackling this now is we're going to be recording as much of the 6 issues in one go, and also we're going to be pulling in more
More people.
guest stars.
Yep, we've already got a line of people who are like, can I be on it, please?
Yeah.
Who we know roleplay and we know will be able to participate efficiently.
Yeah. So we're creating this pool of recurring characters and essentially, yeah, so it will be more easy to create schedules for
Yeah.
that
So
multiple
if
people
someone's
can hit
not
in.
around or not available, it won't be a big deal.
Yeah.
We'll be able to cope without them.
And
Although really, unfortunately, I think it's going to be Lauren who kind of... Although, maybe not.
no, I think
Now that we have... Because Ed, Toby, myself, and now Caroline, who at the time wasn't living in the area, but now
In the
she
country.
is. Yeah, she wasn't in the country when we started, but now she is. She's back home in our area. So 4 out of 5 are actually in the same place now.
that ain't bad odds.
No, it's pretty good. So that makes things infinitely easier.
Yes.
Because we had a time difference to work with as well last time. So really, it's just catching Lauren when she's not working, really.
It's catching everyone when they're not working.
Yeah, because for you and me, it's easy because you have a full-time job and so do I.
Yeah.
And the rest don't.
Yeah.
They're not unemployed. They still work. They just don't work 9 to 5s.
No. So, I think that's everything. Just reiterate those social networks. We're on Facebook. We're on
Twitter.
Twitter,
We're on Reddit.
and
And we have an email.
the email. That's how we roll podcast at gmail.com for all of your...
Questioning needs.
Yes.
And a quick one before we go. Arc 4 will be taking place during the period that Lupo and the captain were away.
Yeah. So we're
So-
flashing back.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're hitting that time gap. We're finding out what Dollface and Hood were doing.
Yep. So me and Toby will be playing different characters, obviously. And they'll be good fun.
So look forward to that. Thank you very much for sticking with us. And we look forward to seeing you in Arc 4.
Yeah. See you then. Bye.
Bye.